You know, I might not know how to read, but I think you did a really good job with this sign. This is really the best sign I've seen today. I mean, it's the only sign I've seen today, but yeah, wow. You don't really talk much, huh? Ow. My head. Oh. You read the title, you saw the thumbnail, you know why you're here. Unless you didn't, in which case that would be pretty strange. How did you even get here? Today I'm here to answer the question that I'm sure is on everyone's mind. Can you beat Borderlands 3 without reloading? As for the rules of this challenge, they are very simple. No reloading, or in the case of COV branded weapons, no overheating allowed. If I accidentally reload or am forced into the animation by spinning the entire clip, the weapon gets yucked on the ground and left there forever. I will not be using Moze's action skill to shoot, but using it to melee or avoid taking direct health damage is completely free game. And lastly, I'm playing with Guardian ranks disabled since that's what all the cool kids are doing, and some of the perks in there are quite strong. That should be all the rules covered. Let us finally begin the run. After selecting my character for this run and a classic Borderlands bus ride full of yapping, we meet our first major story character, our beloved old pal,
General Claptrap of the Crimson Raiders!
Now, in case you've somehow never played a game before, this section teaches you some very important things to know, such as how to listen to a character yap, how to accept an EULA, how to use the interact key, how to slide, how to jump, how to sneak past enemies. Wait, no, this game doesn't have that. But more importantly, this is where we get our hands on the very first weapon of the run, the Moloko pistol, a monstrous Vladoff pistol that deals a whopping 11 damage per shot. Not that we'll actually be getting to shoot it that much. Since we got our hands on a gun, and there's still a lot more yapping to go, I guess now would actually be the perfect time to explain the mechanics behind reloading. If you press the reload key, you'll reload, absolutely unheard of mechanic. Swapping the guns around in your backpack will not reload them, neither will dropping them and picking them up unlike previous games. And even though the new use stations will sometimes say, presto, your guns are now reloaded, dying does not actually reload your guns at all. The only legal way we have to get a full-on reload in this challenge is to save, quit out, and rejoin, as that'll completely reset health and ammo. Is this going to be practically useful? Of course not. There's not always a good checkpoint, but in the long run, this mechanic could save me some headache. Damn, the yapping is still going back there. Claptrap gets kidnapped, and it's up to me to save him. Not that I really want to or anything, but this gives me the perfect opportunity to try out the starting pistol. And by that I mean not actually shooting it at all since I need to save the bullets for later, so a lot of stabbing it is. On the bright side, our first bout of hand-to-hand combat rewards us with a chest that contains a second and third pistol to use. In total, an additional 10 more rounds that I can use sparingly. So anyways, I started blasting. Not really sure what compelled me to do it, but you know, what's a few less bullets? Opening this chest here, I got my hands on my very first shield, and now we're apparently adequately equipped to face the first wall we need to overcome in this challenge, the Shiv boss fight. Okay, so that was actually a lie earlier. While trying to lure Shiv into barrels and generators, he kind of lost me, so maybe Borderlands 3 does have those stealth mechanics after all. Taking down Shiv, we ding to level 2 and unlock our action skill, which I guess is the perfect time to explain why I picked Moze for this run. My saving grace, the green bottomless mag skill tree. Early on, we can get the redistribution skill for a very slight ammo regen on crits. Later, we get to abuse 5 whole seconds of infinite ammo when exiting Iron Bear. And by the end of the run, we'll get a flat out 5% passive ammo regeneration. Bit of an overpowered solution to not reloading, I guess, but don't worry because this run was actually still slow and painful. Speaking of painful, Claptrap fell off of his magnet, and in order to move on with the story, I'm forced to revive him, which means unfortunately I won't be easily advancing any ranks within the Crimson Raiders, and we'll have to continue listening to him for the foreseeable future. On the bright side though, we finally get a proper introduction to one of the coolest and hottest by temperature character in all of Borderlands 3, Lilith, aka the Firehawk, aka our boss. Wait, am I even getting paid for doing this? She does happen to give us our very first grenade mod though, which is great since I don't have to worry about reloading it. And as it so happens, grenades are actually incredibly effective at killing people. Moving on from the propaganda center, I came across what saved my early run from being a complete melee fest, a blue Vladoff pistol with an underbarrel taser attachment. Now, if there's one thing I know about tasers, it's that I don't actually know anything about tasers, but if there's one thing I think I know about tasers, it's that you don't reload a taser, and if anything, you're like recharging it or something. So introducing my new best friend, a taser. If it looks like it's actually doing good damage now, don't worry, because it gets worse from here. Meeting Vaughn up ahead, I'm faced with an incredibly difficult moral decision. Leave him hanging and forgo saving the universe or whatever, or waste one of my precious bullets shooting him free. Just kidding, it turns out you can actually just jump and melee him down, so I don't have to waste one of my precious bullets. We're all good. Before I skip past another snooze fest full of characters yapping, I think it's important to point out that I got my vibes completely ruined by the skull placement. But more important than that, this straggler I left behind did not even bother shooting Vaughn at all. I mean, what does he have that I don't? Thankfully, after all that yapping though, I'm blessed with the introduction of one of the hottest by looks character in all of Borderlands 3, Ellie. She asked me to steal the car back from the bandit so I can catch a ride to the broadcast center, so of course I did that and then proceeded to drive the wrong way, which oddly enough I actually do this every single playthrough without fail for some reason. Not really sure why, but it happens. I assumed the trek to this next zone was going to be a little difficult since I'm already underleveled less than an hour into this run, but with a little brute forcing and skipping optional enemies, it actually went surprisingly smooth. Almost as smooth as this call to action.
Don't forget to like, follow, and obey.
Now, I don't know about that last bit, but maybe you want to like subscribe or something? Haha, yeah. Entering the mouthpiece arena, I'm immediately faced with the consequences of my actions. I'm now 4 levels under the boss, and I'm still lacking any sort of real damage outside of shooting my taser every like 30 seconds. Through the power of my sheer hatred towards dancing bandits and my long practiced technique of straight up beating it, I somehow managed to win this fight with only minor damage to my hearing. And with the vault map freshly acquired, it's time to head back to Lilith. On my way out though, since I was so underleveled, I decided to do the side quest to save Vic, who for story purposes, all you need to know is that she happens to be Vaughn's lieutenant that sold him out to the Calypso twins and is being VR cyber tortured. Something like that. Needless to say, I wasted my time saving her because she decided to run straight back into that compound that I neglected to clear, never to be seen again. Rest in peace. Now that Vaughn has even more of an excuse to start up his blood feud, I now have a valid excuse to go do some more chores for Lilith. This time, I gotta go fix that vault map. To do that, we meet up with Tanis, rob her blind, and then get immediately karma'd by this loot tank's body getting evaporated. On the bright side though, we do get to see Lilith actually do some killing for a change. Wait, no, she just killed like one bandit and it's back to yapping again. After examining the vault map and definitely listening to all that dialogue, it's finally time for us to leave Pandora. We just need a whole bunch of ethically acquired eco-friendly spaceship fuel and an astronav chip. Thankfully for me, that just means some good old-fashioned vehicular manslaughter, or I guess bug slaughter, creature slaughter, and some sick nasty parkour. Getting back to base, Lilith finally gets what she deserves for all the yapping and errands she forced me to do and loses her siren powers. Wait a minute, that just means she's even more useless and the Calypso twins just took the vault map I worked so hard to get. Exacting my revenge with a lot of high-octane tasering, I reluctantly revive Lilith, and I guess it's time to finally leave this stinking rock. We're finally aboard Sanctuary 3, and can I just say really quick, to this day, navigating this place is still like navigating a freaking maze. Like, it's something about it just doesn't stick in my brain. Anyways, after Claptrap almost kills every single one of us, it's time for some rapid-fire side character introductions. Starting off with Marcus, who I skipped from the intro of the game. He sells very ethically acquired guns. Then there's Crazy Earl, who, likes the funny purple rocks, I guess. Last but not least, there's Mad Moxie with her totally not rigged gambling machines and her cool tattoo. Anyways, after fixing Claptrap's nearly fatal mistake and doing my 19th side job as the ship's navigator, it's time to visit our very first planet, Promethea. Quickly running past all the bandits that made it here quicker than us, thanks Claptrap, we meet an actual new character, Lorelei. As it would turn out though, the bandits have actually teamed up with the Malawana Corporation, meaning that morally, I shouldn't even be using their guns. I still will though. After witnessing some of their mini war crimes and digging up to level 8, we get our first form of ammo regeneration, a whopping 5% of magazine returned after I score a critical hit. This basically means that as long as I hit a crit, never miss, wait a few seconds in between shots, I now have a somewhat reasonable method of combat. Okay, so our combat still kinda sucks, but hey, at least it's better than exclusively tasering everything I see. After clearing out the base and contacting the head of Atlas Reese, I decided to do a quick side quest for the experience. During this, I managed to get the very first legendary of the run, the Messy Breakup Shield. Not great, but I mean, it's better than what we had. We meet up with Zero, which I guess in case anyone wants, I'll put him on the hottest tier list as well. And maybe here, sounds about right. I came across an Amber Lamb's bot, which I didn't actually know existed until I googled it after the fact, but apparently it's like a loot variant of the robot enemies, and if you don't kill it fast enough, it despawns. So yeah, didn't manage to kill it, which made me pretty sad. But I did melee this guy's limbs off though, so that was sick. And this quest rewarded me with not 1 but 2 null pointer sniper rifles. Spoiler alert, they weren't actually that good, and I didn't end up using them at all. After opening up this convenient exit for me to leave, Zero gets shot and killed by this car, so I guess that means he's off the tier list now. Without anyone left to help me, and now being 4 levels under the enemies, I decided to go on a bit of a side detour, during which I went back to this platform and managed to get a Psycho Stabber, which has a plus 340% melee damage modifier, so that'll be extremely handy. I forgot how to count my shots, so rest in peace to this green shotgun. I accidentally took this doctor's arm off. Maybe I do have a knack for that after all. And after all the side quests I did, I only actually leveled up 1 time, so I couldn't be asked to do anymore, and now it's time to go take down Gigamind. Zero must have still had access to the new U station because he is alive after all and here to help me. Just kidding, he's here to actually watch me take down the boss all by myself. Not freaking cool, dude. He's not going back on my tier list. Honestly, I don't have too much to say about this boss fight. For someone with such a large brain, it kind of just stood there as I kept bashing it to death. I mean, it took an awful lot of bashing, but surprisingly far easier than I expected it to be. The sweet deets from the Gigamind's brain revealed the location of another vault, so it's time to head to yet another planet, Athenas. Athenas also conveniently happens to be under siege by the Malawan Corporation. Starting to notice a little bit of a trend here. What I didn't notice, however, is that defeating Gigamind unlocked the class mod slot, and the quest reward itself actually gave me a green class mod with the exact infinite ammo on the action skill in perk that I need. And yes, while my method of combat is still just as slow and even more awkward, just check out this infinite taser. Maybe I should have done a taser only run. Anyways, here's another fan favorite character from Borderlands 2. No, not that guy, it's Maya. Don't get too attached though. Hey, is that a vending machine with a legendary grenade mod in it? Don't mind if I do. This is Ava. Nobody actually likes Ava, but it's important that you know she exists, and that she's Maya's apprentice or whatever. Moving on. You remember how like 5 seconds ago I mentioned Gigamind giving me a Giga class mod? Well, he also dropped this smart gun, which as it so happens, deals an absurdly overtuned amount of damage. So you'll be seeing this gun a lot from now on. Smart gun go brr. The empty can of beans, I mean the vault key fragment that we actually came here for, was sitting here for the taking, making this planet done and dusted. Oh, that was quick. I sure hope there isn't another 7 minutes of yapping back on Sanctuary. Oh, yeah. In summary,
Can't trust a man with a mustache.
and it's back to Promethea to help Reese deal with his little death laser problem. We finally get to meet Reese in person, and his ship gets lasered, which is the saddest thing I've ever seen. He has a solid plan B though, steal a Malawan ship so it can fly straight into enemy territory undercover, and then take out that orbital laser. Just kidding, we actually land so far away from the laser on the outskirts of the moon that we still have to brute force our way in, and he didn't even come along for the ride, so like I'm still left to do it myself. What the heck, man? To make up for him not coming along, we shove Reese into a ball, so meet Reese Sphere, aka Reese Ball, aka Grease Ball.
All scan complete.
Not a lot of interesting things actually happened on the way through this zone, but check out this sick vertical gun. Now that's epic. Oh, and I did find another legendary grenade mod from a vending machine. Like, these things are freaking overpowered, dude. To make up for my good luck though, Reese gets his favorite Frogurt shop lasered, which has got to be the actual saddest thing I've ever seen, for real this time. Okay, I lied. Reese Ball freaking dies, and this is actually the saddest thing I've ever seen, for real, for real. I managed to somehow deal with the Katagawa Ball, which I'm not gonna lie was way cooler than the Reese Ball, just saying, but that's yet another vault key fragment acquired. Back aboard Sanctuary for some more legally mandated yapping, I decided to swing by the vending machines to find another legendary on my way. I'm like, what's the deal with these, man? They're so freaking common. After another overload of unskippable dialogue, it turns out that the next vault is under Atlas HQ, and Reese actually has the last vault key fragment he's been holding out on us. So it's time to go take it from him by force. And by that I mean help him stop the Malawan invasion for real, and hopefully we'll get the fragment in return. Fighting my way through Atlas HQ, something fishy was going on behind the scenes. And it turns out that Zero betrayed the Atlas Corporation, that son of a gun. I just knew he was evil after he faked his own death earlier. I bet he probably has a freaking mustache under that helmet, dude. After some more corporate destruction, I get to have what is essentially a vacation for this run, an infinite ammo turret. And it was so relieving being able to just shoot and kill enemies freely. And since the orbital death laser was still under our control, I'd actually get to see a positive lasering this time around. Just kidding, I actually died right at the end and missed the cool part, but yeah, it is what it is. At least we get to have an epic boss fight. Wait a minute, that's not Zero. This Katagawa boss fight is hands down the most awkward boss fight in the entire game in my opinion. Like, I had genuinely no idea what was going on, and by the time I felt like I kind of figured it out, he was already dead. Well, what can you do? Before giving us the vault key, we have one extremely important decision. Reese's mustache, yay or nay? Unsure which to pick, the timer rapidly ticking down, thousands of seconds of dialogue flashing through my head. You know what they say, you can't actually trust a man with a mustache. Or a fungus. After a very annoying driving sequence and some funny dead aliens later, we find ourselves inside the vault area where we now have to face the Rampager Vault Guardian. Honestly, a pretty decent boss fight aside from all the invulnerability phases, and these little wisp things gave me tons of grenades to spam, so it was quite the easy fight. Inside the actual vault loot room itself, we find a cool iridium smasher, a new taser gun to use in a few levels, and would you look at that, Maya's fucking dead. Great. One extremely awkward funeral later, some more bad guys being bad guys, and we're finally on our way to another vault on another planet. It's time for Eden 6. If you felt like the last few sections of the game were very short, don't worry because Eden 6 has a ton of fun stuff to get through. Starting off with a new character introduction, Wainwright Jacobs. Like the banner says, yes, that very Jacobs. He's a bit of a brokey right now, so we can't actually scam him out of loads of cash, but since I'm feeling so nice today, I decided to help him rescue Hammerlock from prison. On my way out, I got stopped by this barricade, which I thought was supposed to break, but it didn't, so I had to loop around the entire map just to go back to where I basically started. Eventually making it to the prison though, it's time to meet the gang. There's good old Brick, the muscle, a not so tiny anymore Tina, the demolitionist, Talon, the air support, and then of course there's Mordecai, our team's moral support. Hey, the gang's pretty much all here. Admittedly, there is a lot that I'm skimming over in this prison break segment, but one of the hardest sections in the entire playthrough was this bridge with its like 5 or 6 badass enemies. Thankfully, I got to channel my inner goblin and hide under the grates here, which made a few of the enemies go down easy peasy. Blowing my way in to save Sir Hammerlock, I had to take down the Warden, which was honestly a pretty forgettable boss fight. Okay, in the moment, I was running around scared while he was in rage mode, but it was just running in a lot of circles. Honestly, not too much different from just the normal Goliath enemy type. Wasting a precious bullet to shoot down Sir Hammerlock, it's time to circle back to Wainwright. And wouldn't you know it, there's a dastardly Maggie in the vending machine by the door, which, spoiler alert, it's kind of insane. After saving Hammerlock out of the kindness of my heart and not getting much of a reward for it, outside of the cool gun I just bought with my own freaking money, I decided that it's probably in my best interest to help take back the Jacobs Corporation. So I immediately walked into a trap at the Jacobs estate and got phase locked by Rat Boy. That's Troy from earlier, by the way. He finally got a cool nickname. I hope I get a nickname like that one day. Anyways, I did a little gambling and then took down my very first purple anointed enemy of the run, Billy. He was pretty cool, I guess. On my way out, I decided to do a couple more side quests. Notably, I got eaten by a freaking dinosaur, which I didn't know that could happen. Found a pretty sus grenade mod. Found someone that knows what cyanide tastes like.
Tastes like freaking cyanide. Wait, that was actual.
I found the recording of Rat Boy and Aurelia getting freaky. And wouldn't you know it, I found another vending machine legendary in the same rune as earlier, but this time in the grenade one. What the heck is going on with these? Getting back on track, this is Clay, who's pretty much just a chill guy that's going to help us rally our own Jacobs army so we can fight back against the COV. Honestly, I totally could have just done all this by myself, but I guess having some help finally wouldn't hurt. So I took back Reliance, got stopped by a bridge that I definitely could have just mantled, rode on a container instead, and killed another anointed to save the Jacobs gunsmith. Like, just look at the Maggie, I told you it was going to be insane. Wait, that key was where? The good news is we now know where the next vault map is located. The bad news is we have to deal with a lover's quarrel. This is Balex, this is Genevieve. I killed her to solve the breakup and get my vault key fragment. You're welcome. And now she took over our ship, god dang it. After sticking her in a hard drive and finding yet another vending machine legendary, it's back down to Eden 6 for some more shenanigans, such as watching this guy fall to his death, watching the bandits' insane driving skills firsthand. Then I killed myself for the content. Did a bunch of secret agent smuggler business involving a hollow monkey. It was super cool, you should have been there. And then took down Archimedes the Anointed to get yet another vault key fragment. The last Eden 6 vault key fragment that we need is back inside the Jacobs estate, so we enter through the secret smuggler entrance, kill a lot of bandits, and yoink. That was easy, but I feel like we're forgetting something. Oh yeah, Aurelia. Another boss fight packed full of annoying immune phases and like nothing to second wind off of. At least the loot was good, I guess. Skipping past a bunch of statue puzzles, we made it to the vault, which is coincidentally also located inside of a major corporation's main building. I feel like there's a deeper message somewhere, but I'm just here to fight the next Vault Guardian, the Grave Ward. This boss fight is probably my favorite out of the whole run, probably because I get to just shoot it the entire time. Maybe it's because I remember farming it so much from launch. But maybe it's this Lucian's Call having 87 bullets of near infinite ammo since I get back more than I shoot when I crit. Fun fight aside though, we get to loot another vault, this one unlocking our artifact slots, and go back outside to the bad things happen the instant I leave a vault routine. This time, Tanis gets kidnapped. which I guess is ultimately better than her getting outright killed like Maya did. Maybe it's just because she's not a siren. So Tannis is about to get sacrificed live on stream at a very cool festival, and in order to save her, it's back to everybody's favorite planet, Pandora. Back on Pandora, we meet up with Vaughn. Hopefully you remember him from earlier. It's the guy in his world famous undies. And in order to save Tannis, we have to gain admission to the Carnivora Festival. In order to do that, we go and steal Big Donnie's Big D. It's the sick gold car. What were you thinking? And sacrifice it to gain admission. Blitzing through tons of enemies, I finally ding up to level 28, which means our flat out 5% ammo regeneration at all times. It'll be a minute before I actually get to really experience it though, because Carnivora is actually a big ass car, and it just drove off. So it's time for another mandatory driving segment where I take out the fuel lines, transmission, main tank, and some of the crew, which puts a stop to it and lets me climb aboard. Finally able to experience my true infinite ammo, which is basically playing the game like a normal person would, albeit a little bit slower. I murderize the rest of the crew on board and easily take down the Agonizer 9000 boss fight. You ready for a plot twist? It turns out that Tannis is actually a siren? What? You mean to tell me the talking in my head, just like Angel the siren from Borderlands 2 was actually siren powers and not some super advanced technology that nobody else has? I mean, I never would have guessed that. Wait, doesn't that actually mean that she didn't really need my help and I just wasted my time and this was just a detour that I didn't have to really actually do? What the hell, man? Regardless of whether she actually needed my help or not, now that she's safe, it's time to launch an attack on the Calypso's compound. And we get immediately vaporized by the turrets. So a quick detour through an old doll outpost to grabbing this Iridium amplifier for Tannis. Another long mandatory driving section. Make me frickin' drive, will you? I'll teach you to throw your freaking car off the cliff. Now that Tannis is cracked out on enough Iridium, she's strong enough to take over those turrets, meaning it's finally time to raid the Cathedral of the Twin Gods. Wait, this section has Ava in it? No, thank you. Skip. Introducing a boss fight that I, no joke, completely forgot was even in the game twice. Once before I played it, and twice whenever I was making this script. I'm talking about Rat Boy Troy, of course. This fight has about 10 million explosions that aren't actually as scary as they sound, and like 19 invulnerability phases, which was the actual worst part of all the boss fights in this game, basically. But thanks to my overwhelming firepower, I took him down no problem whatsoever. Well, I guess Ava's a siren now, and that's a happy ending for everybody involved. Wait, Tyrene is still alive, and now the whole universe is freaking doomed. Game over just like that with a nice cliffhanger for Borderlands 4. So, can you beat Borderlands 3 without reloading? 3 rocks is not enough to crush 2.5 sirens, and conveniently as it turns out, all hope is in fact not lost, because for plot reasons we get contacted by Typhon de Leon, the very first Vault Hunter. So it's time for a nice trip to the mysterious and forgotten Iridian homeworld of Necrodefeo. As it would turn out, it's not so much of a secret planet after all, because there's already tons of Maliwan here. But we do get to meet the legend that is Typhon de Leon in person, and unfortunately listen to him yap about how the universe is doomed. In summary, we have to go get yet another vault key. Surprise, surprise. But hey, at least this one isn't broken into 4 pieces. By this point, the game must have ran out of their cool boss intro cutscene budget, but this is General Trant, older brother to the very same Trant that I killed a little while ago, and that's pretty much all the budget I have for this section myself, so I blew him to smithereens. And eventually, I did the exact same thing to his lieutenant. For the sake of the story, I should point out that we learned Typhon de Leon is actually the Calypso twins' father. Not that it matters much to me though, I'm gonna still kill the other one. Vault key in hand, and for the sake of just one more yapping sesh, I'm forced to head back to Sanctuary in order to charge it.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. With the power of our 4 charged vault keys, we can finally put a stop to the destroyer and save the universe. And Tyrene broke the vault thingamajig. We're so dead. I mean, I was talking metaphorically, but Typhon de Leon actually did die hitting this wall too hard. Well, time to finish the fight and do what I'm paid for, shooting the bad guys. It's time for the final boss fight of the game, Tyrene, in her freaky monster form? Vault destroyer mode? I don't know. This boss fight was really annoying mechanic-wise, but overall very easy. I did actually mess up shooting and ran out of ammo, forcing me to drop 2 guns. One of them being my dastardly Maggie. My freaking crutch is gone. With the boss finally dead, but the planet still rupturing apart, it's up to Lilith, who finally got her powers back, to actually do something in this game for once, by launching herself into the fucking moon, therefore canonically making her the hottest character on this list. But she did just die, so I guess she's off the list. So Therefore, in conclusion, Ellie is officially the hottest character in Borderlands 3. And to answer the bigger question, can you beat Borderlands 3 without reloading? Yeah, easily, if you just get some form of ammo regeneration. I mean, you could probably beat it without that with a bunch of grinding, but the gunplay is one of the only redeeming qualities of this game, so making it even worse than I did would probably be extremely miserable, and I don't know why you'd want to do that to yourself. But that's the run. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching the video. I've never made a video like this before, so I imagine it's a little bit rough around the edges, but I'd love to hear what you think down in the comments below. While I'm not planning on being a Borderlands exclusive channel, the next planned video I have is actually a challenge run of Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, which for the record I've never actually played before, so what better way than to ruin my first time experience? Okay, I don't actually know how to end the video, so I'm just gonna like